Ladies and gentlemen, today is a very bad day. This video today is a video that I have been absolutely dreading to make. For the next 10 plus minutes, I'm going to be in absolute disgust, in absolute horror for what I have to talk about in this video. However, I do have a conviction, better yet, an unyielding conviction that we're going to see the utter merciless beatdown of Rob Font by the hands of Cory Sandhagen this Saturday at UFC Fight Night Knoxville. Now, I'm not basing this off of or predicting this off of the lack of skills of Rob Font. In fact, if you came up to me and you told me that Rob Font has the best boxing in the UFC right now, I wouldn't have too many arguments against that. Rob Font's jab is absolutely terrific. He has some of the best technical skill boxing wise in the UFC, and there's not much doubt in my mind about that. But that boxing skill is the only real threatening skill that he has against Cory Sandhagen, and I think that leaves him to be too one-dimensional, and we're going to see Cory Sandhagen just do whatever the hell he wants against Rob Font. This might be one of the most brutal beatdowns that we have ever seen since probably O'Malley versus Moutinho. It's going to be an absolute butchering out there by Cory Sandhagen, and I'm fairly confident to predict that. Ever since Cory Sandhagen took that embarrassing loss where he get absolutely demolished by Aljamain Sterling, he has been a man on a mission. He has found the holes in his game, and he has found a way to eliminate those completely. Okay, I'm done with the whole shtick. But overall, Cory Sandhagen has improved so much as a fighter recently. He's definitely working on his grappling. We've seen him against Chito Vera. We've seen him against Song Yadong try to implement the grappling. He had more success against Chito Vera as compared to Song Yadong, but he's improved. Overall, he's improved as a fighter. And Rob Font, he's good. Great boxing. I love his boxing. But is that enough? Is that boxing the only thing? Can that truly win him a fight against Cory Sandhagen? And my answer is no. I think he needs more to his game to beat Cory Sandhagen. And Sandhagen is just too diverse of a guy. He is the epitome of a bad matchup for Rob Font. And when I look at Rob Font as a fighter, and I really try to assess what he's good at besides boxing, I don't see much. I don't see much. Leg kicks? No, not really. Movement? Yeah, he's a boxer. He can move pretty well, but I don't really know. Takedowns? Can he pose a takedown threat to Cory Sandhagen? Hell no. So Rob Font is going to have to win this fight based off of his jab, and I don't see him landing too much on Cory Sandhagen, where I can see Sandhagen just sitting back, landing leg kicks, moving out the way. Using his lateral movement to just shuffle away or just slide away from the shots, the power shots of Rob Font. And maybe even Cory Sandhagen can go in there and implement some of his own boxing against Rob Font, and I think he'll be successful. Now, if he goes out there and only boxes with Rob Font, he's probably going to lose, but so obviously needs to mix in other things. But I can see him having some success against Rob Font using his own style, his own version of boxing. Cory Sandhagen has improved so much since that Aljamain Sterling fight, and Rob Font, he's taken some unbelievable amount of damage his last few fights. Even against Yanez, his face or one of his eyes was swollen by a punch that Yanez landed. Against Chito Vera, that man's face was deformed. I could not recognize who the hell Rob Font was after he lost to Chito Vera, and he was doing well in that matchup as well. Like, he was doing pretty good, but his chin, his face, whatever, is not made for fighting. It just isn't. Rob Font is a very tough fighter. He's very respectable in that aspect, but I don't believe that his face is made to take punches. Whenever I see Rob Font get into a good scrap or a good fight, he has something swollen, his lips busted, his eyes swollen up. Something's going wrong with Rob Font's face. And I think if he fights Cory Sandhagen, who's a volume striker, he's not a guy who's going to land a big power punch on you. He can, but he's not that kind of guy. He's a volume kind of guy. He's going to put a jab on you, put the leg kicks on you, put whatever is in his toolbox on you. we're going to see maybe another deformed Rob Font. And I hate to say that. Against Jose Aldo, you know, he was doing well against Jose Aldo, but the power is just something that's too much for him. And I don't see Cory Sandhagen landing any power shots against Rob Font, but we're going to see Cory Sandhagen go in there and just completely beat the brakes off of Rob Font's face. And he'll tough through it, man. He's a tough fighter. He's a great fighter. But we're going to see probably another deformed, gumpy looking face from Rob Font by the end of this 5-round fight, and I don't want to see it. And Rob Font can definitely pull out this win here. He can definitely come in here, and maybe his boxing is just so crisp, it's so good, and Sandhagen's power is nothing to threaten him. And so we see a Rob Font go out there and just jab the living shit out of Cory Sandhagen's face. That can be a big possibility in this matchup, but I just don't really see Cory Sandhagen sitting in the pocket for too long against Rob Font. I can see him just, you know, coming out of the exchange, coming out of the pocket, staying at range, and just chewing up the legs of Rob Font whenever he has a chance to. Just an outside leg kick, an inside leg kick, you know, maybe a teep kick, a front kick, maybe a flying knee coming in. Now we can see Cory Sandhagen really trying to mix up his attack to Rob Font, where Rob Font's going to be sitting there just trying to pump a jab at him. Boxing is great, and it's something that you should progress as an MMA fighter, but it being your main tool doesn't seem to translate too well. And I can see Cory Sandhagen even shooting a double leg or a single leg and possibly getting down Rob Font and controlling him for maybe round number 1 and 2, just like Chito Vera. And at the end of the day, options wins fights in the UFC. There has been very few times where we've seen somebody fight another fighter and they have one option or very few options, while the other guy has a ton of options win a matchup. They just don't, right? And so when I see Cory Sandhagen have all these things he can go to, the takedowns, the leg kicks, the lateral movement, basically the boxing as well, having all these options, whereas Rob Font has pretty much just boxing, I can't be confident in picking Rob Font to beat a guy like Sandhagen, who is honestly on a tear right now. He's totally fixed his game. I know he lost to Piotr Yan, but he put on a great performance anyways. He was tit for tat, toe to toe with Piotr Yan, and even now, I might even pick him to beat Piotr Yan because he's just improved that much in his striking. That whole Dillashaw matchup, he didn't lose to Dillashaw. Cory Sandhagen won that 5th round against TJ Dillashaw. He should have gotten the title shot, but Dillashaw did anyways. And similar to what I mentioned before, how much damage can Rob Font take? He's taken a lot of damage, a life-changing, career-ending damage against Chito Vera. He got sweet chin musicked at one point against Chito Vera and dropped. He's tough again, but will this be the moment? Will this be the time that we finally see Rob Font just go out cold? I know Sandhagen doesn't punch too hard, but he has enough power to put somebody down. I know he flying knee KO'd Frankie Edgar, and welcome to the club. Everybody recently has KO'd Frankie Edgar before he retired. But Sandhagen overall is no joke, and he can definitely put it on you, and he can definitely hurt you on the feet. And I just see him just really weathering down and breaking down Rob Font as the fight goes on, pushing a pace on him, mixing in some grappling, trying to get Rob Font down, make him think about other things other than just striking, staying at range, playing it safe, leg kicking him, inside, outside leg kicks again. And eventually we're going to see a Rob Font who is probably just overloaded with information. There's too many things for him to worry about against Sandhagen. And we're going to see him probably just maybe break down in the fight. And I hate predicting basically a clean sweep, a 50-45 decision, but I think it's the most likely outcome. We might see Rob Font win a round, maybe he wins the first round, maybe Sandhagen's a bit too slow out of the gates and Rob Font does a bit more damage, but I think we're going to see a very clear 50-45, 50-44 maybe decision from Cory Sandhagen, and he's going to just absolutely demolish and turn Rob Font into a, I can't say it on YouTube, he's going to ruin his face. But at the end of the day, I do respect Rob Font for taking this on short notice. Is this fight at 145? I don't know. I think Rob Font it's hard for him to make weight. And that's also kind of a big deal. Rob Font was kind of already preparing for another fight, I think against, was it Song Yadong? Yeah, it was Song Yadong on the August card, which would be, I think, 2 weeks from now when this video comes out. And so he has an issue making weight. And let me make sure real quick that that Rob Font is now making 135. Okay, so it is a catch weight bout at 140 pounds. So, I mean, Rob Font is still cutting weight, but it should be an easier weight cut for him. So I don't think that that's going to play too big of a factor in this matchup. Now, if this was at 135, I would be more inclined to pick Sandhagen because Rob Font has a terrible time making bantamweight. He's notorious for that. I think he missed weight. Yeah, he actually missed weight against Chito Vera, and he said that he missed weight because he was overeating after the loss to Jose Aldo. So, I mean, that it can be a thing. Maybe he went a little bit too in for holiday during that time. He had the little vacation at his mom's place and she cooked up some good food. And he just happened to just put on too many calories that day and he missed weight. But that tells me that you struggled to make weight. And this being at 140, it will be easier time for him. So I'm not going to, again, not hold that too over his head. But he is also getting kind of old. Rob Font is now 36 years old. He's kind of getting up there at bantamweight, especially. Fighters over 35 at bantamweight don't typically have too much success fighting guys like Cory Sandhagen, who's a top 5 guy, who's, I think, one win away from a title shot. I think he gets the winner of Aljamain Sterling versus Sean O'Malley. If it's O'Malley, he definitely for sure gets it. If Aljo wins, he might move up to fight Volk, so that's kind of iffy there. But I think either or, Cory Sandhagen is that next man up to get a title shot if he does beat Rob Font convincingly. And Rob Font being 36 years old at bantamweight doesn't do him any favors, man. His chin might be slightly better because he has more, hydration in his brains where he could take a couple more shots. So maybe I don't really see Cory Sandhagen actually putting down Rob Font. Is a possibility, but I think since this is at catch weight, we're going to see a better chinned Rob Font. That makes sense. He's going to be able to take better shots now. But again, he's just too one-dimensional to beat Sandhagen. He this is my last point here before I get out of here. My last point is that Rob Font does have great boxing, but he seems a bit uncoordinated at times. The way he throws punches sometimes, he's just kind of like out there just winging it almost. I don't know. Again, his boxing's great, but it doesn't look the most crisp, if you know what I mean. Like, it's a bit weird at times. Again, great jab, great boxing, but like he just kind of gets a bit untechnical with his hooks. It's weird. I don't know. I have to look at it more, but he gets a bit kind of unorthodox would be the perfect term for it whenever he's boxing, and he gets kind of like a scrap almost. But I think at the end of the day, Cory Sandhagen wins 50-45. I'm happy here, guys. Thank you guys for watching up to this point. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and hit that bell icon as well for notifications. I will be streaming this card live this Saturday, so catch me as soon as the early prelims hit. Thank you guys for watching. I'm out of here. Peace.